This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's Friday, September 25th, 2020, and it's the Relevant Podcast. In Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Austin, Texas, it's author and podcaster Jamie Ivey.
Hi, guys.
And from Nashville, Tennessee, it's artist, producer, mogul Derek Minor.
Tata Boshanda.
Wow.
What is that?
You know why he just went speaking in tongues? I'm looking at the video right now. Normally, Derek, he records in his studio, everybody. He's an artist. He runs a record label. He has a studio. He records with professional equipment. And today, he's on a church microphone. He's doing the offering right now.
Y'all gonna call me Deacon Derek today. That's what we're doing.
It is like the classic. It's for people that want a more of a visual. It's the mic with it's got kind of the skinnier
looks like a golf ball,
handle,
on the top of it.
The silver golf ball on top. Now, Derek, I feel like that in terms of mega church cred is second only to the flesh-colored little Madonna mic that goes from the ear about halfway down to the mouth. And I never understood, like, because when my pastor started doing, and I get pastors want to be hands-free, right? But this is, these are the ones that you wear in your ear. Like I said, it has a little flesh-colored, tiny.
Be clear, white
Unless
person
you're black,
flesh.
white flesh.
Yeah. Okay, but that's my point.
I don't work for black people.
That's my point. Okay, for any pastors using it, it's like what Britney Spears would use if she was performing at the VMAs in 2008, doing a big dance number. I can see why Britney Spears needs to be hands-free in that scenario. She's probably handling like a live python around her neck, and at that, you know what I mean. But for the mega church pastor, one, I think you're fine just with the mic that Derek has. You know, the old school, tried and true. I mean, how many hands does it take to turn a page of a Bible, or to emphatically, use your hands to drive home the message?
Right.
But the thing about that mic is, let's not do the flesh color thing, because one, it is only made for a certain complexion of Caucasian, and two, it's disorienting. Like,
it looks like a wart on the side of your face.
If you're sitting any further back than like 5 or 10 rows,
right,
it looks like there's something weird going on the pastor's face. It looks like
he has a growth. He needs to get it checked out.
Yeah, is that a scar? What is happening there?
Yeah.
Just make it, make it like, black or red or something where it's like, okay, I can see that this is clearly an electronic device he has strapped to his face right now.
What I think Derek needs for today's show is to get what the ladies who did the offering special had, and it would be like a very colorful styrofoam windsock on that mic that he has.
Yeah.
See, and that's what only thing that's why I draw the line is the bright red or bright blue windsock. That's why I draw the line.
I learned, my mom was in the worship team back in the 80s and 90s. They had all the different colors because the sound guy had to be able to look and see the blue mic. I need to turn it up. Oh, red is too hot. I need to turn it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I'm not even gonna lie.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's what she told me.
And I'll tell you something, that if you want to change your life in the worst way possible, go smell one of those mics.
Gross.
Just mess around and accidentally get your nose too close to the tip of it, and that joint smells like 50 years of hot praise worship garbage breath.
That's so gross.
Sister Thompson was a spitter. So.
I have no aspirations to be a preacher, but if I were, I would definitely. I know what microphone I would use. It's the greatest microphone ever, and that is the Price is Right.
Bob Barker. Bob Barker. No question.
The long stick with just a little tiny like gumball on the top.
Yes.
And I especially feel like in the post-COVID era, when churches start opening up, the microphone is so absurdly long that it's great for social distancing.
This is how much Jesse loves that microphone. We did he flew down to Orlando in our studio. We did like a live, we called it Impact Week, and every week we were live streaming streaming. We're raising money for causes. And Jesse's requirement to come and help host the event was that we built him a Bob Barker mic.
I needed it.
And we literally made like a 3-foot long, ridiculous Bob Barker mic for Jesse on the video.
I love it.
Why
is this mic so long? I never understood. Like, where do you buy a mic like that?
You make it.
It's custom made for Bob Barker. Like I like to think that the producer of the show, like the first time they were going to tape, they're like, "All right, Bob, here's your mic," and the producer, for reasons that never were explained, made that weird long stick mic, and Bob Barker just like, "All right, I guess we're just going with this thing," and look, it's part of TV heritage right now.
Facts.
Yep.
Facts.
Well, we have a great show in store for you. Coming up later, we talk to Hillsong United's Joel Houston, friend of the show. He joins us. We talk about, a lot of stuff. It's a weird time right now for worship in the church with all the COVID. So stay tuned for that. And we have the hot list, and it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a fun one. All right, guys, stay tuned. Up next, it'll be the hot list.
Oh, God, running to the altar like a track star. Can't wait another second. Cause the way you hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, feels so holy. I don't do well with the drama. And no, I can't stand it being fake. No, 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 no. I don't believe in Nirvana.
You're listening to Justin Bieber featuring Chance the Rapper. The song is Holy. I gotta tell you, I love this song.
I love it. I am here for it.
It's the best Bieber song and Chance song. It's Chance's first #1 ever.
Oh, wow. Good. Congrats, man. Congrats, Chance.
I'm here for the Biebs. Yeah.
It's a good song.
Let's get it.
For him. All right. Well, today's show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Is something preventing you from achieving your goals or keeping you from experiencing peace? With the heaviness of all that's happening in our world right now, it can be difficult to find peace and purpose. And that's why there's BetterHelp. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can connect in a safe and private online environment, and you can start communicating in under 24 hours. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. You can message your counselor anytime. To top it all off, it's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. We want you to start living a happier life today. As a Relevant podcast listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/relevant. Join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health. Again, that's betterhelp, HELP.com/relevant. All right, it's time for...
It's the hot list, the hot list. It's sizzling.
Welcome to the show. Our senior editor, Tyler Huckabee, bringing us what's happening this week at the intersection of faith and culture. Hey, Tyler.
Hey, everybody. The first thing when I was talking to Cameron about this, it was kind of obvious. Once again, it's not always obvious, but it's obvious what the lead hot list story has to be this week. I don't know if you all have kept an eye on this news, but Jesus is coming back to theaters. And we are getting the long-awaited follow-up to The Passion of the Christ. According to a scoop from, of all places, Breitbart News, Jim Caviezel, who starred as Jesus in the 2004 mega hit, The Passion of the Christ, which was, and this is true, the highest grossing R-rated movie in history at the time. It held that title for a few years. It's not that anymore, but for a few years it was. Wow. It's getting a follow-up called Passion of the Christ Resurrection. Caviezel told Breitbart, quote, Mel Gibson just sent me the third draft. It's coming. It's going to be the biggest film in world history.
Wow. Well, maybe he's talking literally. They're covering the biggest story in world history.
Yeah. The material lends itself.
The biggest
kind of. Derek's already out.
I'm asleep.
Wait, you didn't ride the church bus down to the theater and see it and buy the tickets with your church congregation?
I'm gonna keep it gangster. I have not seen it at all.
You haven't seen it? I watch it like around Easter, you guys.
It's a movie that I've seen.
Ivy House tradition.
I've seen one time, and I don't really have too much of a desire to revisit because I think it's a powerful movie watching experience, but I don't know that it's the most. I don't want to say accurate, but the most well-rounded presentation of the gospel. I mean, you're pretty much just watching Jesus Christ be, brutally tortured for the extent of the movie. I did though see an interview. Tyler, you may remember this a couple years ago. Mel Gibson was on Colbert, and both of those guys are devout Catholics. And Mel Gibson, hinted that the sequel to The Passion would actually somehow take place in not an earthly realm, like when Jesus descends to hell to Hades, take the keys of death from the powers of darkness. Mel Gibson. Hold on. You
said this right here is going to be that?
Yeah. That's what Mel Gibson has previously
said. Are you telling me that they're about to turn The Passion of the Christ into a Marvel movie? Is that what you're telling me right now?
Well, the Bible kind of did.
Is this about to happen? All right, I'm sorry, Jesse. I interrupted you. No. I just was shocked when you said that. Yeah. I'm sorry.
But I heard it's that story. It's hell and back up to the ascension. So it's like that.
Yeah. We don't really know. This is all. None of this is confirmed at this point, but it does. There have been Mel Gibson has talked in the past about how he wants to, and this is not universal across all Christian theology about what happened after Jesus died. But the harrowing of hell is this idea that Jesus went down to hell after he died, and he had it out with Satan, and maybe he talked to some of the damned who were down there, and maybe he pulled a few out. There's all sorts of different interpretations about what that means or what that looks like. It's definitely a part of Gibson's Catholic theology. So it would make sense that if he were to focus on the Passion of the Christ resurrection, which is what this is supposed to be about, it wouldn't just be a very long, slow shot of the stone rolling away, right? Like something would have to happen besides what we've already saw with the death. So that is a possibility, but that would be a very different movie than what we got a number of years ago with the first Passion movie.
So maybe
they're gonna all be white too, right?
Well, yeah, that was part of this.
That's been the issue.
And how old is Jim Caviezel now, too? Like, the Passion of the Christ was 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, are they going to Are they going to use, the Irishman and DH him? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because he has to play a 33-year-old, right? He would be in his...
And it's not like Mel's reputation has had the best ensuing era since the first movie came out. I say this as somebody who thinks the first movie is a really well-made piece of art. I really do. I think Gibson's a gifted filmmaker, but the guy has been caught on tape saying some pretty ugly things.
He's 51 years old, Jim Caviezel.
51 years old. Yeah, Jesus never hit 51 while he was on Earth. That didn't happen. So Mel has apologized for some of the anti-Semitic comments that he's made. He's said he was caught on tape verbally abusing his former partner. So that's not, we don't want to cancel people. We don't want to say people can't be forgiven, obviously. I would just say that the years haven't been kind. And we need to bear in mind that this is all coming via Breitbart. So the information is still a little, their history of reporting isn't necessarily super solid either, but it does sound like Caviezel did say this, and it sounds like it is in the works and is happening.
It would be interesting, hypothetically, for the Derricks of the world, if it only took place from Friday night to Sunday morning. That was the entire movie. It was all in the when he was dead realm, you know?
Yeah, Derek hasn't seen the first one, so he's going to be be behind. You're going to have to do a marathon.
Bro, I'll just watch The Boys or I'll just watch The Avengers. Y'all are not finna put Jesus in superhero clothes and spandex.
When we posted this on Instagram, it was in the caption we joked, we're like, hey, click to read more details, but be warned, we have some spoilers from the first movie. And people very seriously in the comments were like, that movie's been out for 20 years. Who cares about spoilers? And I was like, the story was written 2,000 years ago. Who cares about spoilers?
Spoilers are in the Bible.
What are you talking about?
Listen, before you read this post, I just want to let you know that you can, it has been out for about 2,000 years. So if you haven't got caught up by now, there are a lot of evangelists that will gladly bring you up to speed. The other thing I feel like,
well, Derek's got the evangelist mic right now, so Derek, you want to
Shando.
Yeah, Derek, that's a mic that someone plugs into an old guitar amp and starts shouting at people at a busy intersection with. No
lie. All right, listen, I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I was doing a show and there was a tour not too long ago, and it was the most frustrating thing in the world. I get there and they don't have anything. So only person that pulls up is this deacon who's running the sound, because at black churches, the deacon's running the sound all the time. And I asked him, I said, hey, man, where's the subwoofers at? You can't do rap without no subwoofers. He said, well, I could just plug the SM58 and put it next to the bass amp if you need some bass. Bro, I wanted to kill myself at that time. So just letting y'all know. Hey. Listen, this mic, me and this mic, we go way back. So, you know what I mean?
At least you could hear the bass. I think I've only heard the bass guitar at church maybe 3 times. Like most of the time, I think they're just up there. Like, I'm serious. Next time, and who knows when that'll be for all of us, but next time you're at like a live worship, you're like, I don't even think that bass was on. You know, like I had a buddy that ran sound, and he like people in the band. It was like this was like a normal thing that would happen on a Sunday. Someone in the praise band would like point at their instrument and give it like the thumb, like turn me up, turn me up. And my friend would look down at the board and mime like he's like pressing a lever up, and he's like looking at the person like that good, and he's not doing anything. And the person on the instrument's like, yeah, that's better, thank you.
Yeah,
it's like that's what you got to do, because everyone in the band asked for me to turn them up every single week.
Every week.
All right, what else do you have, Tyler?
So this is an interesting report that came out of Texas. We have I'm glad we have our roving reporter on the ground over there who can give us the inside scoop. But a report says that a young Texas pastor says he lost his preaching license because he endorsed Joe Biden on social media.
Can I interrupt real quick? There's such thing as a preaching license?
Yeah, we're gonna have to get into this a little bit. There's a lot of layers.
Where is this?
A lot about how things work in Texas with this story.
It's not Texas. That's denominations. Denominations have like you go through their seminary.
You get a license if you're a pastor.
License.
Yeah,
you get a ticket.
Well, you should get a license, so we don't have. So that is one of the things that would hopefully protect people from.
Well, but Jamie, real quick before we get to the story, like who issues the license? Is it like
the denomination?
The denomination.
So it's like ordination, basically.
It's part of the story. So the in this case, and I think in most cases, you do an internship at a church, like a year-long internship, and then that pastor is in charge of giving you your license, and in this case, can revoke that license if he most likely chooses to do that. So let me give you there's a lot to this story, but there's a guy, he's 21 years old. His name is David Bumgardner. He had just completed. Yeah, 21. He had just completed. He had gone through Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, and he had done his year-long internship at Faith Memorial Baptist Church in Archer City. Just got his license on July 19th. A few days later, he posted on Facebook about his intention to vote for Biden. He says he's a Republican himself, but he would nevertheless be voting against his party in the presidential election. This is what he said. I'm voting for Joe Biden to get the most egotistical, hypocritical, divisive, deranged, and dangerous man to ever hold presidential office out of the Oval. I'm voting for Joe Biden because he will bring decency back to the White House. And he went on from there a little bit. I'm a conservative, Bible-believing, Orthodox, Evangelical Baptist, and believe the best way to serve my neighbors and steward my vote is by helping Joe Biden get to the White House. Now, this got quite a bit of attention. It got passed around quite a bit in the church Facebook circles situation. Not all the attention was positive. And soon after, the pastor who had given him his preacher's license, Avery Spray, informed Bumgardner that his license to preach would not be renewed next year. He said that in this case, he had considered the license to be kind of a learner's permit, and that this Facebook post had apparently showed him that he was not up to the job of preaching. He said he told the Baptist Standard, who reported this story, he said this. He said, I couldn't care less about his post.
What is the Baptist Standard?
I also don't know about
it's like a Baptist newspaper for Baptists.
No, I know. I'm saying,
but
in general,
for Baptist? Yeah,
what's the Baptist Standard here?
When I was growing up, it mainly applied to this is just how it was at the time. It was 2 inches above the knee for shorts or skirts. That was the Baptist. I think that was the Baptist standard. Yeah, I think if you hold your arms down at your side, if your fingertips aren't,
but then you can pull your shoulders up, and then you get another inch. But
I
don't know how I know that.
That was the Baptist standard, right, Jamie?
Yeah.
Right. But my question is with the license, because we talked earlier. Like, I know that people get ordained and they can become pastors that way, but I honestly have never heard of someone having to have their license to preach renewed every year. I've never heard that in my entire life.
Maybe certain churches have to have, like, the denomination requires that only licensed preachers have the pulpit, and then that means that they, hit all the check boxes that the denomination lays out. The kind
I've never heard that.
And it's not the same thing as ordination, because he was not ordained, but he was on according to this, the preacher's license was a step in the formal ordination process, which he obviously after this is no longer on. So Spray, the pastor who had worked with him, said, "I couldn't care less about his political views. My concern is that his posts caused discord among brothers and did not promote gospel unity."
Oh, dear Lord.
But wait. So it's the kids' fault that there's discord, not the person who's in office whose literally whose strategy is to divide.
This does bring up the larger question of, should people in the pulpit voice partisan perspectives? I wouldn't want to see it like, if my pastor went on Facebook and was like posting about either candidate. Like, I kind of don't want to see him. I don't think that they should be in that lane,
This is where it gets confusing for me, because I was thinking about that even this year. I've never told anyone who I vote for, and I probably won't this year either. But just because you tell someone isn't there a difference between saying, here's who I'm voting for and here's why, versus here's who I'm voting for and you should too, or else you don't love Jesus or whatever. Like, I feel like there's a difference in those two things.
That's the issue. I think it's like this is my problem with Christianity in general. Is there's this idea of autonomy is unity. The idea is that we all have to be this one thing, that all vote for the same person, that all believe everything exactly alike. And that's not unity. Unity is we may have differences, but I'm not going to send you to hell because you're voting for somebody I'm not voting for. I think that's what real unity is. So I don't see nothing wrong with anyone saying, hey, this is who I plan to vote for. I think you just got to be okay with knowing people may look at you like, oh, that's weird. But then at the same time, it should be diversity.
And the other thing, this guy did it on his, he didn't do it from the pulpit, and Cameron, I get your point. Like, I think oftentimes, political forces have manipulated Christian leaders and conflated political partisan values with Christian values. But
we've seen that a lot in the last 4 years. I mean, that's.
But the other issue is, like, at least this guy is being intellectually honest with his friends on Facebook, because I've seen too many Christian leaders just beat around the bush and don't actually say, hey, I'm voting for this X candidate, but they'll basically say everything but that, like they'll kind of like give these dramatic hints about why you should vote a certain way, wink, 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 and it's like, well, at least this guy's being honest. He's doing it on an individual platform.
I know, I hear you, but I mean, the pastor has a point that is like, listen, I mean, now that we put this guy up in the pulpit and the congregation knows that his partisan views, and if they differ in their views, they're not going to receive his message the same,
Yeah. And that is the problem with them, though. Okay. Like, to me, that's the problem, that you have crippled your congregation into a perspective that they can't have opposing views on stuff.
Which this is my new favorite saying right now. Use your brain. Like, use your brain. Use your brain. That's what I want to say to people all the time. Use your brain. Is because if he says that pastor, and again, if he's not saying, I think you should also vote for Joe Biden, I think that's wrong. If you're a pastor, if you're leading a congregation, you can't tell your church who they should vote for. But him just saying, here's the reasons.
Right, famous Southern Baptist minister John MacArthur
his license.
Last week
why don't you take his license?
All true Christians will vote for Donald Trump in the upcoming election. I don't think you got a lot of pushback on that.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be okay if he said all true Christians should vote for Joe Biden. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. It's not okay. You guys, there's this guy on Instagram that you should follow. In fact, Relevant reposted one of his Instagram posts recently, so you might already follow him. Rondell Trevino. He speaks into this. Yes, he speaks into this. He's the director of the Immigration Coalition. He speaks into this conversation so well. I'm such a fan of his. And he was pumped last week when you guys reposted one of his things. But he's an Austin guy, so I really like him.
Yeah, I got like 10,000 likes.
Because he's saying really great things about this conversation right here.
The kingmakers looked his way.
I had a pastor friend, like he mentioned, like, he was a campaign reached out to him to see if they could use his church for a political rally. And he was like, oh, sure. I mean, that sounds like a cool thing. And I was like, why would you ever consider that? Because now you are co-opted by that candidate, and people who don't agree with that candidate will not step foot in your building.
Yeah, I would
because
not do that.
You've changed the gospel message to them. Man, you're supposed to minister to all belief systems, all political views. You shouldn't be aligning with one, even if like it's not on a Sunday morning. The fact that you're giving the building to them is making a statement. And he's like, yeah, I'm out. Never mind. You're right.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
And he changed his mind. But the using of the pulpit, like what MacArthur did, is just egregious.
But
I
illegal,
get it.
although rarely enforced. But technically, you can't do that.
Yeah, they could lose their nonprofit tax status. It's not illegal, like they didn't break a law. They broke a tax code. But,
right. Yeah. They can't drag you to jail.
It's such a complicated thing because I've even been in churches where they're like, well, we want to just present both sides and equip you to make your own decision. And they pass out like some card that says it has like key issues and where each side. And they're always like weirdly slanted. Like, oh, this candidate wants to make sure that prayer is allowed at any, school. And it's the other side. This candidate policies could potentially lead to prayer being banned everywhere in any public space. And you're like, well, that's not, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, thank you for equipping me with this, propaganda.
Where bipartisan.
Yeah, the only pastor I've ever seen do it correctly was Rick Warren in 2000. When was 2008, McCain Obama. He had the Saddleback Civil Forum, and he did a sit down interview on stage that was broadcast with both candidates separately. Like he had a McCain come out and then he had Obama come out.
That's legit.
And it's just, here's our congregation. And Rick asked the candidates questions that Christians would care about. And then the candidates said whatever they said. And that's that, right?
I would love to see that right now.
Use your brain, make up your own mind. And then Rick fostered the conversation. That to me is the goal. That's the goal. That's what, if the church is going to engage at all, just inform your congregation and let's talk about the issues that Christians should care about. But we're not going to tell you how to vote after that.
I love that.
Yeah. All right. What else do you have, Tyler?
Yeah. Well, so last up today, and this is an interesting one. I'll be interested to hear you all's thoughts on this. So, early in the pandemic days, 100 years ago, there was a lot of, you may remember or may have seen some of this yourself, some sort of gloom and doom prophesying about what was going to happen when the coronavirus hit Africa. There was this idea that it was going to be a health emergency that would cripple the continent because of the high rates of poverty in many African nations. There were calls for a preemptive influx of aid and loans to African countries. There was an expert, I forget who it was now, called it a time bomb. So that was then. As it turns out, the nations of Africa have so far skillfully outmaneuvered the worst nightmare scenarios of the coronavirus. Just a few examples here. We can't go through them all, but Liberia, population 5 million people. So far, 82 COVID-19 related deaths. Senegal, 16 million people, just a little over 300 registered deaths. 12 million people in Rwanda, 26th COVID-related deaths. There's a lot we don't know about this, obviously, and obviously no country in the world is out of the woods yet. There's no vaccine. This is still an ongoing thing. But so far, it looks like all that early prophesying ended up being just not true. So why is this happening? Again, there's a lot we don't know, but a big part of the reason is probably just experience. African countries have experienced serious outbreaks of infectious diseases in the past. A lot of them still have solid infrastructures in place for dealing with resurgences that could be easily adapted to COVID-19. Liberia started screening passengers early at airports, quarantined anybody who came from a nation that had seen an outbreak. Senegal already had rigorous contract tracing protocols set up to deal with Ebola outbreaks, was able to offer a hospital bed or a similar facility to anyone who tested positive. And in Rwanda, testing and treatment for COVID-19 was free for anyone who wanted it. so there's a lot of, every country is a little bit different here, but the fact that so far it does look like experience has a whole lot to do with it. And just the people there have seen these things happen before. They take them seriously. You're not coming to a population that hasn't, like in the US, obviously, where this is sort of a new and novel experience. It's been also interesting to see how many scientists and researchers have been totally flummoxed by this. And there's probably a little bit of latent racism involved in some of the headlines that are like, oh, we have no idea.
Just a wee bit. I just can't believe those dirty Negroes just didn't get it like us. It's absolutely, it's a little bit of racism. Quite honestly, and this might be controversial, but if white people just left Africa alone, Africa would be just fine. It's most of the tragedies that happen in Africa are because some white people went over there to save it. Just leave it alone.
I mean, every country.
Dude, if colonialism didn't happen in Africa, it would be the richest, most.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
I mean, it was just pillaged and plundered by white Europeans. I mean,
man, absolutely. Yeah,
most of them, some of them missionaries.
Many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is fascinating. I mean, it's a very different culture in Africa. Obviously, the lifestyles are very different. The amount of indoor space versus, social distance and interaction. It's just a different culture. And it's just interesting to see how different cultures are being affected by this. And, the fact is we don't know. We don't know what's going on.
It's crazy, but I'm proud of. I love hearing this story because I'm yes, this stories. Is good. Yeah. Yes, and I'm so. It's a good thing for people to see. Look at these countries who are taking care of their people and they're doing amazing work.
Yeah. And hopefully we can learn the right lessons from this and not the wrong ones, as has happened sometimes in the past.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Well, that'll do it for the hot list. There's a lot more stories that we're covering every day at relevantmagazine.com. Go check us out. Follow us on social, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook for all the latest. Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, Tyler.
Stay tuned. Up next, Joel Houston joins us. You're listening to Junior Junior. The song is Vertical. Well, today's episode is brought to you by podcast creation platform Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor yet, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's free. There are custom tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and every major platform. The cool thing is you can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Well, Joel Houston is the leader of Hillsong United. Although, would you say leader? I mean, they always take pictures of 17 of them, so I don't know if he's a leader or if he's just a member of. But he's a founding member of. How's that? In his time with Hillsong, he's written many of the songs we love, like iconic ones like The Stand and Oceans. Our very own Tyler Huckabee sat down with Joel to talk about how he's dealt with the hard times that we've all experienced over the last few months and some of his thoughts on churches and worship leaders who continue to hold in-person services in defiance of COVID-19 guidelines. Here, it's part of our conversation with Joel Houston.
I mean, obviously people are struggling with mental health, is a massive battle for so many right now. But, when you're energized and when you're fired up, that passion, I think, is one thing. But on the other side of that, we have to be really careful that we don't slip into utter despondency, feeling like, we tried to make a change and nothing happened, or, we thought we were so passionate about it, And what that leads people to is a series of choices that if they haven't got support, and so many people are isolated from friends, isolated from churches, isolated from a community. All these things are so important. I'm staring around going, okay, like, yeah, I'm not going to say it's going to be terrible or anything. I'm just saying it's a perfect storm if we're not careful, and we need to figure out how to address it. And I don't have the answers. I'm just that's what I've been processing. Is like, how am I going to take care of my soul? How am I going to take care of my family, my friends, the people who are in my world? Who am I going to check in on? Pretty fired up about the future, in a positive way. And I can't remember if it was talking to you guys, someone else, but I remember a little while back, we were talking about, like, hey, one of the things that's real tricky is I think we want it to get a little darker, because it's like that old metaphor you heard in youth group sermons where it was like, if someone, they have a torch with all the lights on, and then it's like, and it was all about letting your light shine before men, and, not kind of just amongst your friends and church friends and whatnot. But I'm sitting there and thinking, for me, it's the opposite. I feel like there's like so much light in the world and so much good that people are doing and beautiful stuff, and that God's doing these amazing things. But it's kind of got lost in this like creature comfort sense of like faith in Christianity and serving God and serving a God that kind of just fits all my ideals and fits, my perfect way. And all the problems in the world, they're on the other side of the world because this is America and Australia and, all that. And so suddenly, God, he makes no illusions about the fact that there's going to be shakedowns, he's going to shake everything up. Every foundation on earth will get shaken to its core until it's not standing, and all that's left is the word of God. And those three things that we cling to in times like this, especially faith, hope, and love. And it's like, well, this is kind of it, it's got to get a little darker. And I think we've got to be okay with that. And I think it really puts emphasis on, I guess, what's the church going to look like, We want these people to find Jesus, and we're over here screaming about our religious liberties getting taken away. And it's absolute nonsense, bro. Like, it's nonsense. It's like, hey, take them away. Like, I don't know. It's just like, come on, we want it darker. Like, do we trust God or do we not? And so who are we going to be on the other side of this, bro? You want to know what I get fired up about? It's like, let's get good at how we communicate to the world, how we communicate to people in our churches, how we communicate to our friends, how we communicate this gospel we have on Main Street, because at the moment, I think it's not pretty. We're not doing a good job of representing this gospel, regardless of what side of politics you're on. The more that the church stands up and goes out into public forums and has like let us worship parties, and it's offensive. It's like there's no humility in that whatsoever. Like, that's not standing up for that. That's the stuff. I just go, that is not it. That's not what it looks like. Now, there may come a time and a place and a day, right, where that makes a bit more sense. But I don't think it's during a pandemic. in a moment where people are protesting against injustice that is so blatant and obvious, and we're sitting there crying, oh, our religious freedoms. What are we talking about? There is no example of that in the Bible as far as I'm concerned. And I think, okay, like what's going to happen now is you've offended so many of the people we're called to reach that now part of their agenda is actually taking away our religious freedoms. It was a non-issue before then. And so that's what happens time and time again. We create the very things we're afraid of. And so I sit there and I go, well, if we create the very things that we're afraid of, there's a whole lot to be said that they will know him by our love. You know, because if they know him by our fear, then what are you going to get? No, they're not going to know him by our fear or our courage in the sense of fear, like we're not fearful. That's not love. And don't get me wrong, God is that good that I'm sure in all these meetings and all these places where people are doing stuff, that God is actually moving, because he's not going to miss a moment. If people are hungry for him, he's going to move in their lives. But I think as a whole, we could be doing so much more for our communities than having a worship protest.
So don't let your heart be troubled, or hold your head up, have no fear, no evil. Fix your eyes on this one truth: God is madly in love with you. So take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where our help comes from.
That was Joel Houston. Go check out more of that conversation at relevantmagazine.com.
I wanna get lost with you. Picture waking up someone new. I wanna get lost with you. 'Cause right now I'm lost without you too. I wanna get cotton candy skies in my eyes when they open wide.
You're listening to Blue the Tiger. The song is Cotton Candy Lemonade. Well, thanks to Joel for joining us on today's show. You can follow him on Instagram at Joel Houston. And hey, while you're online clicking around following people on Instagram, head over to the all new relevantmagazine.com. Like I mentioned the last couple of weeks, every week we are adding new features to the site, and this week is no different. As you're looking around the site, you can also check out the all-new issue of Relevant Magazine. The September-October issue is up now, featuring Maverick City Music, the Avett Brothers, Jordan Lee Dooley, and a whole lot more. The piece from the mag on the rise of Christian nationalism kind of went wide this week. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. We're going to be publishing every other month, just like usual. A lot of changes coming, a lot of new things happening with the magazine, our new era. Go check it out, the all-new relevantmagazine.com. On that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
Jamie Ivey.
Derek Minor.
We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a good weekend, everyone.
For listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Relevant Podcast Network.